So by now, I'm sure that everybody is aware that the Colorado State Supreme Court on Tuesday evening barred Donald Trump from the ballot using the insurrection clause of the 14th Amendment. The court decided that Donald Trump did in fact support the insurrection, partially because he had the authority to stop it, but didn't. Through his inaction, the court tells us, Donald Trump tacitly supported this, or passively, I guess you will. But here's the big problem that Donald Trump has. The court also determined that this was not just a matter of Trump speaking at the Ellipse that day at the Stop the Steal rally. They said this is not a First Amendment issue because a First Amendment issue does not apply when the speech, somebody's free speech, is in furtherance of a crime. That is going to come back to harm Donald Trump in every criminal trial that he is facing, with, of course, probably the exception of the New York hush money trial. But hey, who knows, right? Here's what's happening. Donald Trump, as I actually talked about yesterday, had his lawyers earlier this week argue in a motion to dismiss the charges against him in Georgia that he was just exercising his freedom of speech. Well, as I just said, Colorado just said, listen, it's not freedom of speech when the speech is in furtherance of a crime, and we're determining essentially that you did the crime of supporting an insurrection. Now, obviously, it was not a criminal trial, so Donald Trump is not going to be convicted for this, supporting the insurrection, as the court said. But that ruling, even if overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court, those judges' words can and will be used against Donald Trump when he goes to those criminal trials like the one in Georgia or the one in front of Judge Chutkan and tries to say, listen, I was just exercising my freedom of speech. I was just telling these people I didn't like the results of the election. They did all this on their own. No, this is no longer a free speech issue as the Colorado State Supreme Court ruled. Now, if the Supreme Court does overturn it, obviously that does cast a little doubt on it, and you're not necessarily going to be able to use it as, the legal standard, but you can still use it, okay? I know it's kind of a bit of a gray area if the Supreme Court does overturn this, but the words are powerful, the ruling is powerful, their argument is very spot on. So I think even with a Supreme Court that could likely overturn this, because that's obviously where this goes from here, I think you can still use parts of this ruling in the trials against Donald Trump, or at least use some of the rationale, because it's a different animal. These are criminal trials. This is more of a, constitutional, not civil, not criminal, but kind of that weird area in between. So anything can happen at this point, but the bottom line is that this ruling in Colorado has more ramifications than just whether or not Trump can be on the ballot there. This is going to harm his criminal trials. It's going to harm his defenses, and it could, slim chance, but I'll say it definitely has the potential to end up resulting in a conviction in one of these later criminal trials.